Hi everyone, CJ here. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight for happy hour. Grab a glass of wine. Ask any of your questions. I'll try to answer them live, and any that I don't get to, I will answer later tonight or tomorrow as we go. So I'm going to be reading from Rescue Matters, my animal rights best-selling book, which really chronicles how Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue came to be, how I met Keith, how I got involved, how over the course of 5 years now, that the entire team has been able to rescue 5,000 animals, in a place where it's never been done before. So really incredible story. Our journey is not done, but I felt like the book needed to happen. And so here we go. We got chapters 3 and 4 tonight for you. Chapter 3, The Outsider. Quote, Keith Benning. Oh, just one second. And I got Bella here who's chewing on a bone, and so it's not my stomach growling or anything. And I've got Brenda helping me out with comments. So, The Outsider. Quote, Keith Benning. The reservation was a different world that you have to live and work on to understand. I was an outsider, a white guy on the res, trying to change things. So everyone looked for a deeper motive, but there wasn't one. I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. If I'm going to be a guest on someone else's land, I needed to understand and respect them and their culture. I learned about the importance of family, ceremony, pride, and traditions. End quote. Throughout the book, I asked Keith to write a few things about this or that so that he could really have a voice included. And I know I said that before, but I didn't want the book to just be in my own voice. I really needed him to have his own voice and in his own words. So there's a lot of shorter and longer quotes, of his throughout the book. Is that too loud? I can hear her. How about we let her out? We'll bring Bella back later. We'll bring our rescue dog back later. She's so sweet. Okay, go out. Yeah, go out with your bone. There. Okay, thank you, Brenda. I asked Keith about his vision to raise money for the rescue in the beginning. Donation boxes, he said with a chuckle. And I laughed too, imagining a cardboard cutout with a picture of a sad dog and a slot barely big enough for a quarter. Quarters would help, but it was dollars that were needed to solve the problem. Quote, Keith Benning. It never occurred to me to reach out for help beyond the local community. So when I met Keith, which is coming up in a couple of chapters, I talked to him early in the beginning. I remember him reiterating that to me, that he never really thought it would be more than him and his wife at the time and a couple of people in that area. What Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue has grown into is just absolutely incredible and unexpected, and I think it can only be attributed to authenticity and just a real and raw. There's no smoke and mirrors here. We've all shown everything that we've done, good, bad, ugly, and otherwise from the beginning, and you guys have really backed us. To really make an impact and decrease the number of stray and unwanted animals, a long-term sustainable solution was needed. That solution would require enough money for transport vehicles, staff, and community outreach programs, free and low-cost vaccination clinics, spay and neuter clinics, in addition to raising enough money to buy land for a shelter would also be necessary. Money would need to be raised to take care of the ongoing building, business expenses, animal care, and everything that a shelter would require. This was no job for petty change, and without most of those divisions in place and functioning well, a solution would never become a reality. The overwhelming prospect of having to raise enough money to buy land, build a shelter, have enough volunteers, put all the systems into place from zero to everything, from nothing to something in the beginning was so incredibly overwhelming, and just like, who are you nuts in the head people to think that you're ever going to do that? And we were all just a little crazy enough every single day to think that maybe we could make it just one more day. And I really believe that's why we're still here. Asking a community to give money that's already scarce was a doomed vision before it was conceived. This community needed help from the outside in to be able to make changes from the inside out. Keith was the only person in a position to build a bridge that needed to be crossed both ways. But trying to make changes in a place where trust is earned, not given, requires exceptional patience. Quote, Keith Benning, "When we started the rescue, many people were against us and thought there was some kind of scam behind it. They thought someone else was coming in to screw over the reservation in some way. I can't blame them. That's what happened over and over. I did what I could to defend myself and what I was doing, rescuing dogs. I wanted to make sure everyone knew I wasn't out to screw anyone or get rich off of a problem. I just wanted to save dogs and be a good cop." And so going forward in the book, I write a little bit more about Keith was a deputy in the area and still is a sheriff's deputy in the area on a part-time basis now. He left for a while. We've had a lot of questions about that. Is Keith still a deputy? He is still a deputy. He wasn't for a while, but he did go back and is working part-time. I think he takes about 2 shifts a month as a deputy now. Local support for the surprise rescue was a hard sell. Relations became increasingly turbulent when the rescue was repeatedly accused of stealing dogs and selling them for profit, as purported through rumors and lies. It was a falsehood that unfortunately spread like a virus, even without proof of such allegations. Any progress Keith made in gaining trust from the community took 2 steps back when a new accusation spread. Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, stealing dogs, is a disillusioned lie that still lingers in the distance today and undermines ongoing rescue efforts. When the book was published in 2018, that statement was real and true. There's a lot less of it now, which is a great thing. Luckily, that unfounded notion remains dormant most of the time, but once in a while, someone coughs it up and spreads it again. There are so many stray and unwanted animals everywhere in the world that to anyone involved in animal rescue, stealing dogs is preposterous. I'm sorry, but I just cannot even imagine. I mean, with the amount of animals that Keith had taken in from the beginning and still today now, and the team takes in now, why on earth would we ever want to steal dogs? It's so insane. And that those rumors and lies spread in the beginning was really hard and sort of crippling for the rescue in a lot of ways. Thank God that that's way different now, a majority of the time. I'm going to take a cheers, everybody. I said that this was happy hour. A little rescue dogs and wine drinking never hurt my soul, that's for sure. Everyone who got to know Keith came to understand how untrue those rumors were and how much he was personally sacrificing to save animals. It was also understandable why some of the locals felt that way. There did seem to be a lot of disappearing companion animals for such a small area. Nearly every week, Keith posted to the Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue Facebook page about a missing dog and to help spread the word and hopefully reunite them. The community would eventually come around and fall in love with Keith, as would the whole nation, through his real-life rescues. First, he would have to become a liaison between 2 worlds that have a history of colliding and distrusting each other since the beginning of time. Keith Benning, quote, "Many Native people are suspicious of outsiders, especially white people. If I gave someone an acknowledgement, a nod, a smile, a hello, I almost always got it back. But that was just scratching the surface. Being polite and gaining someone's respect are two totally different things. End quote. Most of the areas in the county where Keith served as the dog rescue guy were predominantly Native American. He would have to learn their language and gain trust on all sides of the invisible boundaries between state and tribal land. He would need to build a bridge where a bridge had never been built before. That would take breaking down stereotypes held strong for decades, and it would take the changing of hearts and minds filled with preconceived notions that have kept everyone at arm's length. To stop the cycle of birth and die off here, Keith would have to convince the local tribe that he was a suitable spokesperson who could advocate on behalf of the animals without taking advantage of the people. On the other side of the line, Keith would have to somehow remind people that what was going on was not a reservation problem, but a humanitarian one. Outsiders and insiders, borders and cultures, divisions and classes, none of that mattered. Animals were dying. Animal welfare mattered. So whose fault is it that a problem existed, or who was responsible for cleaning it up? To me, it was clear. Humans. No more fingers needed to be pointed. So perhaps fate does know what she's doing when she moved Keith up to God's country. Slowly, he gained their trust, one person at a time, by serving the very community that didn't trust him at first. As it turns out, Keith had a bit of a checkered past, with a very unique skill set, making him perfectly suited for the job of bridge builder, negotiator, and diplomat. And that is the end of chapter 3. I am going to take a couple of questions, and I'm going to read chapter 4. They're kind of some quick chapters tonight, so let's go through it. And I haven't cried yet, so that's a good thing. I want Keith to sign a book. Is that possible? I love this question. So, there's a lot of us on Team Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, and for all of us to get together is absolutely impossible. For a few of us to get together is like almost impossible. But a few of us got together this past Saturday night, and I brought 50 books to our little soiree, and I asked the team, hey, you guys should sign these books. Like, I'm going to sign them. Keith, you sign it. Aaliyah, you sign it. Aaron, you sign it. And, you know, those will be the ones that we'll sell off of the website. And so we passed around the books, and that was, you know, really cool. And then I looked at them today, and this is what it looked like. And I know that this is backwards for you, and I apologize, but yeah. So I'm going to have to re-sign all those, just so you guys know. Aaliyah, Keith, Aaron, because I don't know what you guys were drinking, but I have a bad signature, and mine is the only readable one on here. But so there are their signatures, and I am going to donate these 50 copies or so to the Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue website. I can't promise that if you buy a book off the website that you will get one of these. I don't know how kind of quickly that they will go, but that is where all of these copies will go. And I've got Brenda here tonight, who's with me every Wednesday. Say hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Hi, Brenda. Brenda's a volunteer with Turtle Mountain and many rescue organizations. She's just a badass animal warrior all around, and you get to hear about Brenda's story later. I'm going to have Brenda sign all 50 copies on her chapter tonight too. So if you order it off the website, hopefully you'll get a signed copy. There are quite a few of them. Is the shelter closed due to COVID? The shelter is not closed due to COVID. At the shelter, the consistent regular staff is Keith and Scott, Amanda, Shannon, and a few other people that sort of come and go and help, and a few others that like me that are far away that come up to help. But there's not a lot of people. It's a very spaced out area, and we at Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue are as safe as we can possibly be, and following all the guidelines that we think and that we should follow. How's Roach? I'm so worried about Roach. How's Roach? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God. Roach is, Amanda's going to be on with him tonight. I don't know what she'll be able to show you guys. I think she's going to be with him. I believe she has to do some cleaning of his wound and some caretaking. I'm not sure how much of that she will show. And we have a plan for Roach for some really consistent, intensive, appropriate medical care. And Roach is going to be transported out of our rescue on Friday. Brenda is actually driving him 4, 5, 7, 8, 18 hours. 18 hours. Round trip. Brenda. I just said she was a badass animal rescue warrior, and she definitely is. So we're doing our absolute best for Roach, and we have found him the care that he needs to heal that really awful, awful wound. Okay, I'm going to go with chapter 4, which is really interesting. Chapter 4 is really interesting. So when I included chapter 4, it was my editor who's in Australia was like, and there was a few times that she said it. She was like, I don't know if that fits. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with animal rescue. And I was like, I know it doesn't, but I have to include it because if you don't know who he is, who we all are, sort of where we came from and why we're doing what we're doing, and then it doesn't all make sense. So I'll make it quick. But I felt like it was really relevant in the grand scheme of the book so that you knew sort of where Keith came from, and then in later chapters sort of where the rest of us came from as well. Chapter 4, Hell on Earth. 60 acres of despair, surrounded by 33-foot concrete walls lined with gun towers, is how Keith described the maximum security prison. I asked him how he felt on the last day he walked out of the notorious place, dubbed by some of the inmates as Hell on Earth. Keith Benning, quote, I was literally thinking, wow, I can't believe I made it out alive. End quote. A Google search of Stateville Correctional Facility in Crest Hill, Illinois, turns up images and statistics that blow my mind. My afternoon writing quickly turned into falling down a rabbit hole of articles and videos about life inside an underworld I couldn't even begin to fathom. Among other things, Stateville is known for executing John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, the person responsible for single-handedly turning a beloved comedy character into a terrifying monster that inspired Stephen King to write the book It. After a few YouTube videos of what life is like inside of Stateville, I picked my tongue up off the floor, pushed my eyeballs back into their sockets, picked up my phone and sent Keith a text. Holy I can't believe you've survived Stateville. Call me. Did I just spit? God, I just got so excited. I don't even know. But that's the way it was. I suppose that's the way it was on that day. I was like, oh my God. What the hell, dude? I was like, Keith, you gotta call me. This is where you came from. This can't be real. I need to know. Keith didn't respond right away. He was en route to pick up puppies that had been born under a structure on someone's property. When I finally connected with him, I could hear tires on the pavement, a common sound when I'm talking to Keith on the phone. Probably 99% of the time. Also in the background of our conversation was the dinging of an alarm warning system reminding him to put his seatbelt on. A dinging that never seems to quit. We chatted about rescue business, where the puppy pickup was, their condition, and what would be their fate. Then I let him know that I'd just been thoroughly entangled on the internet for hours reading about his ex-employer. Did you see what I did there? I was hoping maybe I would catch a few of you. Maybe thought he was walking out of there as an inmate, but he wasn't. I caught a few. I got a few emails that were like, I see what you did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's my job, is to tell the truth and the story, but to craft it hopefully in such a way that you read it, because if you don't read it, the message doesn't get out. And if the message doesn't get out, then this sort of internal passion in me to help with animals and animal rights is not fulfilled. So I will do my best to write the best book I possibly can this time and every time, so that you enjoy reading it, maybe so that we find some common ground together and do some freaking good. So Keith worked at Stateville for 6 of a 15-year stint as a prison guard. As we talked more in depth about his experience, I was impressed by my interesting and incorruptible friend. I realized he has lived an entire life of honing the skills required to win over the hearts and minds of even the most hardened criminals. Quote, Keith Benning, "Everything in prison comes down to respect. If you show a convict respect, they'll show it back. What keeps you from getting killed is respect." End quote. He told me about several instances when he was being surrounded by men with bad intentions. He was outnumbered in each occurrence. But because not a day went by that he didn't treat every inmate with dignity, the imminent attack was called off by someone at the top of the intricate inmate hierarchy. On many occasions, the inmates saved Keith from the same kind of trauma he saved them from every day. It was clear that he took his job seriously. He was fair and an open-minded guard who protected them from each other and protected the outside world from them. I'm gonna just time out, back up for a second. I don't know anything about being inside prison. I hope to not ever know anything about myself being inside prison. But what I do know is that when I wrote this, not a day went by that he didn't treat every inmate with dignity. That's who I know him to be. Like, you guys all see him and everyone says, is he really that nice? Or you know, all the questions that come up. Yeah, I mean, like, dude is who he is. What you see is what you get. That's the really cool thing about Keith and everything that he does. The former prison guard schooled me about a world of corruption and gangs, mental illness and tragedy, saviors and monsters. As he talked, I became more aware than ever that Keith had the skills, determination, and just enough crazy to do what no one else had done before. Keith Benning, quote, "I would literally say to myself each day before I went in, don't die today. Don't get raped today. We all had to look out for each other and just try to survive." End quote. But not everyone did survive. There were many guards who lost their lives within those prison walls. The exact number is difficult to discern. Much of what happens there seems to be shrouded behind a political veil with stipulations like, if they were attacked inside but died later in a hospital, it doesn't count. When I write a book, I try and do all the research I possibly can on any of those types of facts. And all of that is the best I could possibly come up with, was that there, essentially were a lot of deaths, but not a lot of them were counted. And it was this, then that, and it's all just obfuscation and snowball. And man, I did my best. As I talked with Keith, I learned about the buckshots that peppered the ceiling in the now closed roundhouse, the suicides, stabbings, and deaths of fellow officers. I was saddened by the cruel conditions for everyone under the roof at Stateville. I asked him how accurate the documentaries I'd been sucked into watching were. He was quite adamant that what the film crew saw was all a setup, a total fake. Apparently, what I'd watched on the documentaries was a total joke and misrepresentation of what it was actually like inside. Keith Benning, quote, "It never looked like that. They never showed the shit and piss and blood and chaos that was reality. Administrators made everything look great. We had guns with bent barrels, had to wade through water in places, and there were dirty guards who let inmates get stabbed in the showers. There were good ones too, but there were bad ones too. It was so loud in there you had to scream to hear the next person next to you, to hear the person next to you. They literally barked like dogs. But the hardest thing about working in a prison is not getting sucked into the giant hole of negativity. No one wants to be there. Let me see what I got questions on here. Josh Duhamel as Keith in a movie. Chris Pratt as Keith. You know what? Someone wants to turn this book into a movie, I'm going to vote for Chris Pratt. Absolutely. Any day of the week. He's my vote all day long. Someone wants to call Josh Duhamel and say, yo, North Dakota needs an animal shelter. You want to contribute? I'm all in. Let me know. I'll help write the letter. I was transfixed and could have stayed on the phone for hours as Keith told me about the reality of what life was like inside. Keith had story after story, each tale more unfathomable than the last. The man who hung himself, the riots, dodging balls of fire, milk cartons filled with sun-ripened urine and feces, pubic hair in his meals, drain cleaner in his drink. True story. I double-checked. I was like, you've got to be kidding. He was like, no, of course that shit happened. Co-workers caught smuggling heroin in through there, cockroaches everywhere, and Sparky, the electric chair. At the end of our conversation, I felt like I just watched the worst parts of The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and Locked Up Abroad. I understood at a deeper level who Keith was, the hell he'd come from, and the skill it took to survive. The irony was not lost on me that my tall, broad-shouldered friend, a burly dude with an unmistakable air of authority, survived 6 years inside Stateville without being assaulted, raped, or killed. That he was now guarding the lives of puppies. So, surely, if Keith could survive serial killers, he could handle a few puppies, right? And that is the end of chapter 4. Bear's story is next up, and then chapter 5 is probably one of my favorites, which really gives sort of a history of the area, but super, super interesting, more than just a history lesson, I promise. What is the meaning of the name of the rescue? Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. So it's a geographical landmass of the area of Turtle Mountains in the Turtle Mountains, and that it's kind of as simple as that. There's the I don't think many have heard about the Turtle Mountains. I grew up in North Dakota and I didn't hear about the Turtle Mountains for a long time either. So we're a really small rural area in northern, sort of western North Dakota, pretty close to the Canadian border. It gets really cold. Someone said, how come you don't have a North Dakota accent? I'm like, what? I don't have a Fargo accent? I assumed that I did. I don't know. I grew up here. I live in Fargo, and Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, Keith, is about 4 hours from me. Make it up as often as I can, as well as the other volunteers. How many marriage proposals has Keith had after his videos? Is this men and women or just women? I think lots and lots and lots and lots of people would love to stroke his beard every night before bed. I'm just gonna say lots. Who would play Scott? Oh, that's a good question, Brenda. Do you have one? Who would play Scott? I think about that. Oh God. Okay, so if someone by some miraculous stinking miracle was like, yo, I want to turn your book into a movie, let's talk. Of course, this, this is all fun and games. All fun and games. Like, who would play Scott? I don't know. Why don't you guys know Scott? Scott, here's what we're going to do. Here's Scott. I'm going to talk to Scott. I think we should just Yeah, I'm not going to edit Scott's posts anymore. We're just going to let Scott do his own post. And then let's all get back together. And we'll know a little bit more about him. And then we'll all decide who we think might be. Yeah, why are you talking about prisons instead of animals? I totally get it. Totally get it. Like, just hit that little slider back probably 2 minutes past when you asked this question. And I talked exactly about why I was talking about prisons instead of animals, which has to do with really who Keith is, who is the heart of our rescue, right? How do we order apparel? I put the link in the description. So all of our apparel is on our website. I will double check that link after we get done here. How can I donate? You are absolutely welcome to donate to the Amazon wish list, to donate $10, to donate $100. If you're interested in reading the book, 50% of all the profits go back to Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. Looks like Jonah Hill, Jeff Goldblum, Ed Harris, Tom Hanks. Oh, those are all good ones for Scott. What do you think of it? Jeff Goldblum. He's the Jurassic Park guy that's like, nature will find a way, right? Isn't that him? Is that him? No, that's not him. That's... I can't remember. Jeff Goldblum's a little bit more goofy. I'm going to have to look up his photo. I think that's a good one. Kevin Costner, Dustin Hoffman, Bill Murray. Oh my God, these are so funny. These are good. Russell Crowe. Oh, these are all such good ones. Those are fantastic. You guys are so much fun. So Amanda's going to be on tonight at 9:30. She's going to be on with Roach. And so I know a lot of you are asking questions about Roach, and we do our best to update you as we know, and try and give you, you know, this as much accurate information as we know in time, but things change really quickly. And I wanted to show you this. Is it backwards? It's probably backwards. I'm sorry.
Okay. It doesn't matter.
But this is Annie by the most wonderful painter whom we didn't know of until recently. And then she sent us this. And I'm going to put her name and information at some point about where you can buy this beautiful painting of Annie and Keith. And she donated, I think, about 100 of these prints to us, and they are not on the website yet, so don't freak out, not too many messages, but I promise they're going to be on the website soon, and you'll be able to purchase one of these super cool, awesome, original prints from this really great artist who donated these to us at no cost and was just like, love you guys. And we were like, oh my God, I love you. Those are so great. They totally are good. They capture everything. And they're super beautiful. They're even more beautiful in person. And so I will see you guys, Mr. Rogers. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I look forward to every single time. Thank you so much for letting me share my book and my passion for animals and animal rights and Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue and everything behind the scenes that I know. I love chatting about it. This is an incredible organization. It's everything that you think it is. Everything is real and raw, and I hope that we show that and prove that in every way possible. And it'd be really cool if we could all just do some really good shit together for a really long time. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. If I didn't answer any of your questions, I will try and get to them in the comments later. But thank you, Brenda, for being with me tonight. Thank you for driving Roach on Friday, 18 hours round trip to make sure that he gets the best medical care.
No problem.
Okay. And thanks to everyone on the team and all of you out there. Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And come back for Amanda tonight at 9:30. Bye.